Good evening to one and all. The School of Ancient Wisdom is happy to welcome all of you to yet another learning session this evening. We thank you for your participation and welcome all of you in the ongoing webinar series. As always, we would like to begin with our school prayer, which I have posted in the chat box. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom, O hidden light, shining in every creature, O hidden love, embracing all in oneness, may each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Thank you. Today we have with us Mr. Yogeshvar. With the grace of his gurus, he has a decent level of expertise in the practice and teaching of traditional yoga and facilitating self-knowledge in the lights of teachings of Vedanta. He follows the traditional methodology according to the Advaita tradition of Sri Shankaracharya for Vedanta, Yoga Sutras of Maharshi Patanjali for Raja Yoga, and approach of Tamil Siddhas for Hatha and Laya Yoga practices. Mr. Yogeshwar, we thank you very much for your valuable time and truly appreciate it. We now hand over this forum to Mr. Yogeshwar to engage us for the next 1 hour and request him to share his knowledge and insights with us. Thank you.
Namaste. So we will begin with a small Mangalacharana. Om Namaha Harihi Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavake Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Ma Pushavake Om Shanti 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 Om Tatsat. So, the last class, we concluded with a very interesting tabular column for our individual practice. What I have to do, what I need not do, what I should not do. Because the purpose of the list is practice of Vairagya and Viveka, to develop Vairagya and Viveka for the Grihastha, for a person in an active life. We put it as need not do. So what is not a duty is presented as what I could do. You can also present like that. So if we are talking about being very proactive, but since we are the context is developing Vairagya, I put it as what we need not do, because the purpose is prioritizing. So we redefined Vairagya for an active person as prioritizing. So from that point of view, what I have to do, all other than what I have to do are what I need not do and should not do. So we made a column like that, and I recommended that you practice that for a week and let's get back to it. So in that context, as we go further, this kind of do's and don'ts, this kind of do's and don'ts, niyama and yama, is part of every spiritual tradition. It's presented, structured in its own way. This yama niyamadi is there in every spiritual tradition in the world. Even in tribal traditions, you have. So in everywhere you have. Now, why? Because this is absolutely essential for channeling our energy. We cannot be involved in everything because our energy is limited. Our lifetime is limited. So with our limited lifetime and our limited energy and resources, we need to focus on our goals. This life is a gift given to the individual, the Purusha, in order to pursue the individual goals, which are Purushartha. So That is where we are beginning from. So even if you talk about abidance in spiritual knowledge, bridging the gap, even if it is for a sannyasi, the purushartha is moksha. So without a purushartha, there is no life. So you can say, only person who does not have a purushartha is a jiva mukta. So purushartha sunyana, like Patanjali says, once the purusharthas are not there anymore, all the three gunas are going back into the equilibrium in the chitta, and then the result is kaivalya. So there is your individual limited existence comes to an end, which is basically moksha. So there is kaivalya, and they say you want to become one with the universe. So different ways of talking about it. So that's not the problem. The point is, the whole knowledge becomes relevant to an individual based on their purpose, the purpose that they are behind. Based on our purushartha, the entire realm of knowledge wraps around you. It becomes available for you. The whole matrix of information wraps around your purushartha. Based on my goal, I relate to a information. The information is converted into usable knowledge based on my purpose. So let us say I have this box, the specs box, right? Now, let us take an example of a person who has never seen a specs box. You understand? There is some space inside. You can put things. You understand that? So if I give it to a child, the child is so happy. If you put all its little toys that you collected from everywhere, like, this is my Kinder toy box. Don't take it. Then I will say, no, this is my specs box. If you say, no, my toys are here. This is my Kinder toy box. I will say, no, this is my specs box. So when I have gone outside the house somewhere, before I come, my specs box became Kinder toy box. So this information, the information about this wraps around the child's need for a box for its toys, his or her toys. While I have associated this with the purpose of keeping my spectacle. It's a very simple example. Like this, we have in everything in life, whatever you come to know, including the spiritual realm, let us say the rituals, the mantras, God, deities, whatever you make, saints, the tomb of the saints, the adhishtanams, the living saints, your guru. Then there are different pujaris and priests and different classes of experts, astrologers. So all these resources, all these spiritual resources, including God. I'm sorry for presenting God as a resource because the context requires it. But if you really sincerely think, we are actually using God as a resource. Except the jnani, everybody uses God as a resource. Like when Lord Krishna says there are 4 types of devotees, up to Jigyasu, Arti, Artharthi, Jigyasu, for all 3 of them, God is a resource. For one, saving from trouble. For another, getting money and some things. For another, it is for knowledge. Only for a jnani, because he is complete, he realizes the completeness. There is no need for an objective relationship with the deity. So the Lord says, he is me, I am him. So why is he a devotee of the Lord? Because his mind is spontaneously in the Lord. So he has to present him as a category. So other than the jnani, other than a jivan mukta, God makes sense according to our purpose. So if I am scared of some earthquake or volcano, or if I am scared of some accident, God becomes Apat Bandhava, the one who saves me in a moment of danger. Like you have Gajendra Moksham story is about that. And we have all our examinations got over. Now the result was going to come. So 12th standard result, 10th standard result. Suddenly all the kids become very pious. They go to the puja room, they pray, say, oh God, I should get a good marks, whatever. So Artharthi, I want some things done. So suddenly my bhakti is up. need for God is more. Right? So, based on my purpose, God looks like the one who has a lot of powers and control over stuff. So he can get things done for me what normal people cannot do. God somehow, by some magic, I did not write well. By some magic, make me get above 60%. I'm not very greedy. The style is very, very very fair in the deal. Not asking for 100 marks. Okay, I did not study well, I didn't write well. Okay, bro, 62, 63, no, at least 60 marks, please. But please manage, you can manage. I know you are all powerful. Ganesha, poor Ganesha, usually Ganesha is in trouble for this. Ganesha and Krishna, they are usually in trouble for all the nonsense that kids want to get done, I once prayed for a cinema ticket for some Rajinikanth movie. I remember when I was in my high school college or sometimes. So I was fresh getting this Ganapati mantra or something from my grandfather. I was very ambitious to use this mantra and I was very excited and I got the ticket. That's how it is. So based on our Purushartha, the knowledge wraps around it. So when we are coming back to our thing, so the what I have to do, what I need not do, what I should not do, changes from person to person because their goal is different, right? Also similarly, so when we are doing this, we have to use a knowledge. So because I said that based on the Purushartha, the whole knowledge wraps around the Purushartha, the kind of knowledge that is made available changes from person to person. So when we are going for abidance in spiritual knowledge, we have to first be clear, am I in touch with the right knowledge? This knowledge, am I in touch with the knowledge meant for me? That's very important. Because even when you say like a small thing like a Dharma Shastra itself is like an ocean. You cannot study everything. And our resources are limited, so our prioritizing is there. Because we cannot do everything and our resources are limited, our energy is limited, our knowledge is limited, capacity for knowledge is limited. So we will have to prioritize and we need to make a list. Like how we make a list of things to do, to be done, need not be done, should not be done. This is also based on the basic common sense plus, here is the difficult part, common sense plus Shastra. So Shastra or Dharma Shastra or whatever is the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge body that helps us to make certain decisions. How am I prioritizing? How am I deciding this is my duty? Is it only common sense I am using? Or should I go a little bit above common sense? And is there any special knowledge that rides over common sense or that supplements my common sense in both ways? The special higher knowledge, spiritual knowledge, esoteric knowledge that could either supplement, add to my common sense, or it could override my common sense. My common sense says, okay, there is a very good market for it. A very simple thing. There is a very good market for milk and milk products. So I am going to get a few cows and take care of those cows and produce a lot of milk and sell milk and milk products, value-added milk products, and become rich. Then I study, one day I decided to study Dharma Shastra. Then I start reading Dharma Shastra. It says, a Brahmana who sells milk will lose his status of being a Brahmana in 3 days. So, tough thing, like then I get a shock of my God. I went and did all these courses and everything, and then I decided to do it. Now, because I did not know this knowledge, now my Dharma Shastra is telling me I'm not supposed to sell milk. Then what am I going to do? Here in this case, if I am a sincere person, then there are some practical difficulties of changing my business. Okay, I did a mistake, I did not know, now that I know. Let me gradually shift my trade and I will see maybe I can sell all the milk and the whatever is my investment to somebody who is qualified to trade in milk, and I sell to them. Then I don't sell milk. Now, common sense says I should do nothing wrong. There is anyway everybody is selling milk. So, and milk is healthy. You can give all kinds of arguments. Suppose if I say, if I'm too attached to my decision, come on, this cannot be fair. This is not true. How can these Shastras are all written 2000 years back, 3000 years back? How is it relevant for our modern times? Milk is very healthy, it gives protein. I'm helping people to lead a healthy life. I'm donating milk for an orphanage. I'm doing wonderful things here, and I'm taking care of, so there is a Goshala, I'm taking care of cows. There are all these guys who are torturing cows. I'm not torturing the cows, I'm taking care of them in my way. I'm having a organic grass-fed cows which are free to roam around, who are not kept. All these arguments, endless arguments I can make. But if I sell milk, I lose my Brahmanatvam in 3 days. That's what Dharma Shastra says, and there ends the matter. Dashana Anena Iti Shastra. It says that that's how it is. There is no going here or there. Then by accepting that I am doing a Papa Karma, I am doing a Nishiddha Karma, I am doing a prohibited action, I first accept that. This is prohibited action. Okay. Now let us see what we can do about it. Now this is the attitude or approach towards the Shastric wisdom. Shastric wisdom that is recommended by the Sampradaya, by the tradition, starting from Bhagavad Gita. Now, in this case, the Shastra knowledge, the spiritual esoteric knowledge, is overriding my common sense. There is no logic that can prove this. There is no logic that can disprove this. What is the connection between me being a Brahmana and selling milk? Man, it doesn't make any sense. Of course, it doesn't make any sense. Because it's not born of logic, it's esoteric knowledge. Take it or leave it. That's how Shastra works. Right? That is why, even in Bhagavad Gita, when we study the 16th chapter, Shloka 23, 24, in 23, the Lord says that it's amazing. The one who neglects the injunctions of the scriptures and acts according to his own will, he attains neither success, nor happiness, nor the highest goal, which is moksha. Right? Yaha Shastra Vidhim Utsrujya Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Paramgati. On the face. So, Tasmat Shastrameva Pramanante Karyaprarya Vivastithau. Nyatva Shastra Vidanoktam Karma Kartum Viharasi. So, it's on the face, very clear. And it's no mincing words, no political characters, nothing on your face. That is what Shastra is. That is what tradition is. Tradition does not hesitate. The esoteric schools don't hesitate. The original masters, they don't hesitate to call a spade a spade. Something is not okay, not okay. This comes in the chapter which is traditionally titled as Deva Asura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. The chapter on Deva Sampat and Asuri Sampat. Very clear what is Devi Sampat, what is Asuri Sampat. There is no talk about human rights, there is no talk about political correctness, nothing. On your page, here it is. Now it's saying, after giving all the knowledge, in the end, the Lord says, Yata Ichasi Tata Guru, that's another story. It gives you complete choice. You do this is the consequence. You do that, that is the consequence. This is the knowledge. Please take it or leave it. Now, here the main discussion we are having today is what is the right approach to spiritual knowledge. So that is what I want to discuss today. Because from that list of have to do, I need not do, should not do, we began that list with an approach of common sense. Let us start writing the list to the best of my knowledge. Now, the best of my knowledge is constantly improving. And constantly, I am like this Windows software. I'm constantly getting upgraded, updates every day. I listen to some satsang, I get a new update. I study some scripture, I get a new update. I have been studying the same sloka for all my life, but today when I open the sloka gives me some other insight. Because my chit siddhi, my mental purity is constantly improving. And the sadhaka, when I am doing all my tamaswadhyaya, etc., there is a constant reduction in rajas and tamas. And as there is a constant reduction in rajas and tamas, the dust on the mirror is getting clear. As the dust on the mirror is getting clear, I am able to see the image much more clear. I am able to more and more. I am able to see exactly what the Shastra is trying to say, exactly what the Shruti is trying to say. It is called as Shruti Mataha. Shruti Mataha. Shruti Mati, it says. Shankaracharya in the, what we call Sadhana Panchakam, my favorite text. Sadhana Panchakam, he says, Pustarka Suviramyatam, Shruti Mataha Tattaha Anusandhiyam. He's not telling you don't argue, but argue by taking the paksha, by taking the side of the Shruti. Say yes, what Shruti says is right, what Shastra says is right. Then use the logic to help us understand what the Shastra says. That is the approach which is given in the tradition. The tradition does not say, be completely devoted to logic. Because just like how I said, the knowledge, the information wraps around your Purushartha, the way in which we conduct our logic, it wraps around our Shraddha. In this case, the commitment. The intellect works according to our commitment. If I am already committed to a purpose, if I am already committed to a cause, all the arguments I make will be in a way to justify that commitment. That's why if we observe ourselves carefully, if we observe our arguments for something very carefully, how we build the logic, like the example I gave you, a Brahmana not selling milk. Now, please don't go into a side track of, the caste system and all those things. Let us leave all this Harvard Hinduism out. So I'm talking from our traditional perspective. So Varnashrama Dharma is the reality whether you like it or not. So if a person is born in the Brahmana Jati, or if the one is outside the Varnashrama Dharma, the one is not in the Vedic culture, the person who has the temperament of a Brahmana, Guna Dharma is like a Brahmana, a professor, or a person devoted to knowledge or whatever. So we can take it like that. But when a person is born in the tradition of Hinduism, the one has to think according to the Jati based Varnashrama Dharma. It's a very big debate, so I don't want to get into the debate. This is the position of the Shastra. We can take it or leave it. So that is not the context here. That's not the topic right here. We can discuss that another day. But right now, the Shastra statement is this: if I consider myself as a Brahmana, that's more politically correct. If I consider myself as a Brahmana, the Shastra says I can't say it. No. If I am taking the side of the Shastra and using logic, I will try to see what could have been the reason for Shastra telling me not to sell me. I will think of it. There must be a reason. Shastra will not recommend something without reason, and then I start thinking. Suppose if I think I have what Shastra is all old-fashioned stuff. This is good for, I say, selling milk is more important than Shastra. The profit coming from milk is more important than Shastra. Me justifying my position as correct is more important than what the Shastra says. Suppose me justifying my position, me neutralizing my guilt is much more important, and seeing myself, me preserving my self-image is much more important than the pramana of the Shastra, than the pramanatvam of the Shastra. Then I will use all kinds of logic to establish my position, establish my decision. This is what is kamakarata, the one who makes decision based on one's own desire. So when I am using logic to justify something, I can see, is the logic coming from my desire? This is what I said when I meant Shraddha. Where is your Shraddha? Is my Shraddha is towards preserving my ego? Or have I surrendered to my ego? Or have I surrendered to the Shastra, which is an objective standard that is outside me? So why? The reason is because all my conclusions are the result of my own likes and dislikes. All my likes and dislikes are shaping my conclusion, basically. So as a person who is evolving spiritually, there is a fantastic term for this, a fantastic term in the tradition for a person who is evolving spiritually. It's called becoming a Sanskrita person, becoming a Sanskrita Purusha from being a Prakrita Purusha. Prakrita Purusha means the one who is ruled by one's own instincts. Sanskrita Purusha means a cultured person, the one who is consciously cultured and shaped in a certain way according to a certain objective standard. That is Sanskrita Purusha. Here in the tradition, it is a person shaped according to the recommendations of the Shastra. Sanskrita Purusha. The one who is purified of likes and dislikes, purified of rajas and tamas, purified of the karma and klesha that influence his intellect is purified from the influence of the klesha and karma, the pain-causing afflictions of likes, dislikes, etc., and one's own samskara that is got from past life. So I am creating a fence. The one who is purified in a way that one remains unaffected by the influence of by the outside influences. This is the first thing actually. So when we are making our list, being influenced by outside factors that are not in line with the Shastra. This is extremely important for our times. So this one topic we are going to discuss for many classes. So first we will start like this. We are moving from Prakrita to Sanskrita Purusha. What is required is an objective standard that decides what is right, what is wrong. That is why Tasmat Shastra Meva Pramanante. That is why Shastra is the valid means of knowledge for you regarding what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, what is dharma and what is adharma, what is karma, akarma, vikarma, what is to be done, should not be done, need not be done, what need not be done and should not be done. So regarding this discretion, may we develop this discretion according to the knowledge revealed in the Shastra. By considering Shastra as the valid source of knowledge, that is going to decide my decision making. That is going to guide my decision making. It is not all black and white. There is a lot of gray zone that we are going to know. That is it's a process of understanding, assimilating, and bridging the gap. So it's a process of bridging the gap between my actions and between the mandates and the recommendations and the prohibitions of the Shastra. There's a gap between my practical reality and what is recommended. Every time, no matter who you are, I guarantee that no matter who you are, no matter how advanced you are, I am, whatever we are, the moment you take Dharma Shastra and read 2 pages, I guarantee that you will get depressed. Because there is so much we are not following. There's absolutely like an ocean. We are not following a damn thing. Nothing. We don't follow anything. It's like probably just 1 or 2 things. Okay. Then you don't know where to do, what to do, and then this Nama Sankirtanam guy comes from somewhere and he says, hello, Hare Nama Kevalam. Then you say, okay, I do whatever I want, and then chant only Rama. But also it's not enough, but okay, better than nothing. So yeah. So Dharma Shastra will guarantee that you will get depressed. Then you run to the Guru, and then you discuss, Guruji, what is this? I'm not following the damn thing. What is totally here? Like, so I'm already, just by reading this, I can see myself burning in hell. It's not like that. So the point of Dharma Shastra says, okay, see, somebody sent, I give some examples of clarity on karma. For example, women in periods are not supposed to cook. Right? I can go with a lot of controversial stuff here. A widow should not marry again, but a man can marry again. This is something I cannot swallow, but it's there. It's there. It's the recommendation. Now we have to then, when there is akarma, and akarma is basically, the one you are not supposed to do or need not do, which is not your job. For example, let us say I am a person devoted to knowledge and the practice of yoga and moksha and all that. And I have taken sannyasa. I am not supposed to go and become a head of an organization and start reforming society. That's not my job. My job is study Shastra, teach Shastra, be established in the knowledge, Nididhyasana, Shravanam, what do you say, Swadhyayam, Pravachan. This is my job, nothing else. I'm not supposed to do anything else, right? And a sannyasi is given to ahimsa. A sannyasi is not, a Brahmamsa sannyasi is not supposed to pluck flowers and do puja. I'm not talking about Matadhipatis. Matadhipatis are different. They have a position. The position demands that they do a certain vipassana and puja for world welfare. They don't go and pluck the flowers. Somebody plucks and brings it for them. As a sannyasi, I'm not supposed to pluck flowers. Now, as a yogi who is desirous of Ishvara Pranidhana, one who is practicing Ishvara Pranidhana, the one who is desirous of divine grace, and the one who is on the path to moksha should not eat meat. Ahimsa means no eating meat, not Buddhist ahimsa. Buddhist ahimsa is somebody eats and drinks, you can eat. That's not ahimsa, that is hypocrisy. So ahimsa means you don't eat meat, you don't participate in anything that is there to do with meat, you don't participate in balis and all that. No. If you are devoted to ahimsa, that's what it is. Right. Now, dharma ahimsa, then it comes, then you have to see the ahimsa defined for a kshatriya. I am a police officer. I am given to ahimsa. What is my ahimsa as a police officer? My police officer ahimsa is somebody is annoying me. Simply because somebody is annoying me and I have my badge, I cannot go and slap that fellow. Simply because I am annoyed. Maybe I can slap the fellow as part of an interrogation, which is officially correct. But there are certain rules, there are some protocols where it is considered as correct to use my gun. I can use my gun in that. Then in the gun also there are rules. You have to shoot under the knee, some lot of things are there. So basically here akarma is something that I do for the sake of my ego or I do for the sake of my likes and dislikes. That is not recommended for me. Vikarma is something I am doing which I am not supposed to do, like smoking and drinking. And in that again they talk about there is something called Nishiddha karma. There is a Vihita Nishiddha karma, Avihita Nishiddha karma. It's very, very, you need to probably discuss these things with Mimamsaka. I am not the right person for this. But I have some basic knowledge about it. Even if I have a doubt, I go and discuss with some Shastri, some Shastrajna who have studied, who is more into Mimamsa. Those people are, they're very much into that. So if I have a doubt regarding something, I call up somebody, I call my Guru, or I call up some Panditji and I ask them. Whoever has studied Dharma Shastra, I ask them. Because we cannot study everything. That's very important. So as we keep our knowledge, as we keep updating our knowledge, we have an opportunity to constantly look at our decisions regarding what we are supposed to do, what we cannot do, and what we need not do, and what we cannot do or should not do. And we can keep updating this. And then we have, and when we are doing this, we have a chance to look at the way we think. Am I thinking according to the Shastra? Or am I thinking according to my preferences and questioning the Shastra? Now, next comes, okay, I am thinking according to my preferences, I am questioning the Shastra. Of course, I am human. I am very attached to what I want to do, what I like to do. Now, what is the level of force? Now, this is where bridging the gap tech comes in. What is the level of the force with which my personal preference is asserting itself? Is it making me angry and restless and frustrated and, bang my fist, and is it making me cry and, it's making me throw the Dharma Shastra book? I don't want to read, I want to burn Manu Dharma Shastra. So is it to that level? Then it's high time to do some pranayama and do some reflection and do a lot of japa and wait for God's grace. so that at least the force of my personal preference is not too much. So I stopped studying and started working with my restlessness. Then I try to get more satsanga. Oh, my personal preference is very strong in this matter. So let me run and grab some good satsanga where the person of a person who is really devoted to sadhana. The more time I spend in satsanga, becomes much, much easier to bridge the gap. So my ego asserting satsanga with a person that I like. So I will have a list of people that I like. I like to spend time with them. I may not agree with them, but somehow I like to be in their presence. So if I feel like, yeah, I kind of like to be around this person. And this person is, oh man, he's so traditional, he's following all the rules and all that. But somehow it's nice to be, it's a nice guy and person. I like to be around him. That Swami is somehow nice. Some like how the youngsters say, yeah, he's cool, this one is cool. So first, the Swamiji has to be cool. After that, only the youngster will go and spend some time. After that, only the Swami is knowledgeable. No matter how knowledgeable it is, Swami A is knowledgeable and not cool. The Swami B is knowledgeable and cool. The youngster will go to the Swamiji who is knowledgeable and cool. And that's all right. That's cool. I'm cool with that. So I say, okay, it's okay to be with that person. I like to be with that person. He's a rules guy, but I like to be with that person. Maybe choose that person and hang around with that person, spend more time with them, discuss these things. Let's see what that person has to say. You discuss your feelings, your dilemma, and that person will listen and give some inputs. Sometimes it may go in, it may go above your head, or it may go through this ear and come through the other ear. Doesn't matter. Satsanga. Make it a discipline to have some satsanga with a person who is okay with the Shastra. At least in that matter that you are discussing. So I am not asking you to go and have some full time with Shankaracharya. He's busy. He has to guide the whole humanity. So I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to find a friend or find a Swami or somebody who is following Shastra or is closer to Shastra or who respects Shastra in that specific matter in which you have a problem with Shastra. That's what I'm talking about. Right? It's something like, you don't like to diet. Then you spend more time with a friend who is very good in diet and very good in exercising and all that. Like that, I'm saying. So, on an issue based, you can choose a issue based satsanga. Thereby, you have an objective energy that is kind of overriding your own likes and dislikes. When we do that, it becomes much easier to manage the likes and dislikes, and suddenly something start making a little bit sense. It was complete nonsense, but now it's making a little bit of sense. Maybe I can read that thing again. Maybe I can think about it. Okay, give me some time. Let me think about it. I'm at least come to that level. That's already fantastic. Because when we are dealing with our very deep-seated samskaras, as much as we need Shraddha, to the same extent, we also need compassion and kindness on ourselves. We need compassion and kindness on our own mind because it's a tough job. It's not easy. Be compassionate and kind to yourself as much as you are having Shraddha in the Shastra. When we do that, it becomes easy to bridge the gap over a period of time and be patient. Like, it is they say Shraddha and Saburi. So, as much as Shraddha is there, you need Saburi, patience with oneself and also with others and also with situations. Sometimes the situational compulsion to go against the Shastra may be very high, may be tough. The situation may not change so soon. It's all right. At least at the policy level, I see that I am not on the right track. I should find a possibility to make this better, to have a better nishta on dharma on this matter. Despite my condition, I at least have it as a policy, theory level. That itself takes a lot of time. So, before we get into bridging the gap, we need what is called in the tradition as pramana buddhi on the Shastra. That is, treating Shastra as pramana or valid knowledge with regard to spiritual matters that are outside the realm of my everyday experience and logic and outside the realm of my own common sense domain. It deals with things that are outside my common sense domain. Punya, papa is outside my common sense domain. Moksha outside my common sense domain. Pure consciousness that is beyond the mind and body outside my common sense domain. Prana, at least until I have a subtle perception developed in me, it is outside my common sense domain. How to understand energy and vibration. Until I develop the sensitivity, it is outside my common sense domain. So in all these matters, I take the Shastra. Now I have a Pramana Buddhi. I consider Shastra to be right. And based on that, I question my conclusion. So this is what we need first. Why we start our process of bridging the gap between what I think is right and what is actually right according to spiritual body of spiritual wisdom, according to the body of ancient body of spiritual wisdom, which is the Veda and the Shastras and the Smriti, Smriti, Purana, etc. Based on that, what is right? And my own limited sense of understanding of right and wrong. See where is the gap and try to bridge that by keeping Shastra as the benchmark and slowly trying to bridge. This is the first step we need to do. And that is why it is said, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. With Shraddha gets jnanam, not the smart one gets IQ1 labate jnanam. No. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. Because IQ, the intellect, works according to our Shraddha. There is a, it's what I would say that this is one of the interpretation. It's not a traditional interpretation. If you read Sayana Bhashya, it's not like this. But I had a kind of an insight, and I think it's somewhat relevant in Taittiriya Upanishad. It comes when it talks about Vijnana Yaposha, Shraddhaya Shiraha. The head, Shraddha is the head. If you take the Vijnanamaya as a bird, Shraddha is the head. Rhythm is the right wing. Satyam is the left wing. Concentration or one-pointedness is the body. Mahat, the tail is rested in the Mahat or cosmic intelligence. So, Shraddhaya Visharaha, Ridam Dakshina Pakshaha, Satyam Uttara Pakshaha. I think Yoga Atma, Mahat Pucham Pratishta, like that comes happening. So, Shraddha decides where you use your rhythm, Satyam, whatever is the knowledge available for you. It's all kept together by the power of one-pointedness and devotion and the discipline. And the direction is set by Shraddha. Shraddha is the head. So that is what makes a difference between an Asura and a Deva. An Asura is also an Astika. An Asura is an Astika. Asura is a devotee. You see how much tapasya they do. Without Shraddha in the Shastra, without Shraddha in tapasya, without Shraddha in the deities, in the Devatas, will an Asura do tapasya on something that he doesn't have Shraddha? He has Shraddha on the Devata, but his head is screwed up. The sense of direction is lacking. The vision is lacking. Shraddha is twisted. The Shraddha is more to the personal desire and less to the purpose of the Shastra. So the purpose of the Shastra, Shruti Shiro Paksha Samyak Ashriyata, Shiro Pakshashram Ashriyata. May you take the Paksha of Vedanta when it comes to approach towards Shastra, Shankaracharya says in Sadhana Panchaka. So with that, we can try. With that, I will conclude the discussion and throw open the class for question answers and other things and discussion of your notes from the last week. So we need to take, as a summary, we need to take Shastra as the benchmark for right knowledge and compare it with what we know and try to bridge the gap. Here, by Shastra, I mean only Veda and Veda-based Shastra. The Chaturvedas and our Sampradaya, the Sanatana Dharma-based Shastra alone I consider as Shastra. And whatever is outside this, I don't consider Shastra. That does not make me a fanatic. This gives me a fixed frame of reference. I have a very non-confusing frame of reference. So now this is the frame. Suppose if I come across, you may say, are you telling that there is no, are you telling that, Yogeshwar, there is no spiritual knowledge outside the Vedic realm? You think native Indians don't have spiritual knowledge? Do you think the Wiccans and the Celtics and the Druids, they don't have spiritual knowledge? Australian Aborigines are wearing so many things like, Tripundram like that, they are wearing a lot of ashes on their body and all that. You think they don't have, there are beautiful masters of juju in Nigeria, they don't have spirituality. I'm not telling that. What I'm telling is, if I come across any of that body of knowledge, if I am reading some recommendations from the Converse Castaneda, I will map it with what I know from the Vedic tradition as the Pramana. I will map it with the Shastra and see where it fits and where it doesn't fit. And I will take only what fits with this, because this is the benchmark. All the spiritual knowledge has been kept intact in the original form with a proper traditional methodology and rigor, only here and nowhere else. So this becomes the most intelligent choice as a dependable framework of spiritual knowledge against which everything else can be benchmarked. I'm not telling there is no knowledge elsewhere, but if we get exposed to some other knowledge, we respect them as they are. But if I have to decide if I have to take in something or not, it is always wiser to compare it with the Vedic system of life and the framework given by the Vaidika Sampradaya. And based on that, we can decide whether to go ahead with that decision or not, whether to take that knowledge as valid or not. So validation comes from here, while everything else is benchmarked against the Vaidika Sampradaya, and this alone is to be taken as a valid framework against which we benchmark everything. So that is the approach for deciding what I have to do, what I need not do, and what I should not do. And I am taking the framework of Shastra based on me as Adhikari for that knowledge. The next question comes Adhikaritvam, Adhikari Bheda. Adhikari Bheda we will discuss in the next class. That is a very important, crucial point in our Sampradaya, in the Sanatana tradition. The most important point is this Adhikari Bheda, which is where rubs everybody in the wrong side. Because of not understanding Adhikari Bheda, people have a problem with the tradition. So next class, we are going to attempt to have a better relationship with the reality of Adhikari Bheda so that it doesn't get to us too much. And we try to approach Shastra based on our qualification for a certain type of knowledge and the practice. So with that, I am now awaiting your questions and points and inputs. You can contradict me, but I don't want to get into a protracted discussion. But let us stick to Anuprashna, questions connected to the topic. You can write in the chat or voice your question. While they write the question, I would like to share a small thought. I wanted to share it with you. It is a scene from this recent, very famous movie, Kerala Story. These three girls, there are two Hindu girls, a Muslim girl and a Christian girl. They go to a restaurant to eat food. The Christian girl is putting some crops and praying. The Muslim girl is doing her prayer. These two Hindu girls start eating and they suddenly stop and say, "Hey, I'm sorry." We started eating. Then the other two are telling how important it is for them to pray before and all that. And then these two girls are actually impressed. Says, "I don't know. I don't do any. My amma tells some shlokas and all. I don't know." The other one says, "I just say yummy food and then eat." And then they say, "I know. My father used to say, thank the farmer," and this kind of. So most of the people from Hinduism, we have a problem owning up our sampradaya. Whatever is the sampradaya we are born. Many of us have a problem. We think in the whole, you take the entire gamut of people from different spiritual traditions, the Hindu alone has a problem owning up their tradition. To say a prayer, we want to go and do universal prayer. We don't want to use Om, we don't want to use anything. Because in Vyasa Bhasham, Vyasa commentary to Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it says there is a big discussion on Shabda and Artha. What is the relationship between Shabda and Artha? Is it a conventional relationship or is it an eternal relationship? When discussing the Om, the discussion is like this. The Om and the meaning of the Om, which is Ishvara, are eternally connected with each other. Not like a chair. If you say a chair, the meaning, the word chair is assigned to this chair in English is by convention. Somebody at some point decided to call it chair, and we are calling it. And it is called as narkali in Tamil, it is called as kursi in Hindi. So depending on the language, it is called in different ways. But the association between this object, the meaning of the chair, and the word chair is not eternal. It is by convention, it is an assigned meaning. But when it comes to the Veda Shabdas, the words and the sounds in the Veda, the meaning of the words in the Veda and the words have an eternal association because of the words having their origin in Ishvara. Because they are apaurushaya, because it is not created by a person. Vedas are not composed in Sanskrit. Sanskrit language is derived from the structure of the sounds in the Veda. So Veda is anadi and apaurushaya. Because of that, the Shabdas and the Vedas have an eternal relationship. Whether we understand the meaning or not, when we are blessed with a few Vedic Shabdas in our tradition in the form of prayers that are given to us by people with minds that is one with the universe, what calls Ritambara Tatra Prajna, it says. So this Ritambara, the people who are one with the universe, whose mind is one with God. From that level of totality, a word comes out. And that is given to us, and we have that available for us to use as a prayer. And then we go for universal prayer in English. I don't understand this nonsense only Hindus do. Nobody does this in the world. No Muslim does it, no Christian does it, no Jew does it, no Buddhist does it. All of them have absolutely no problem owning up a simple prayer from the tradition. Only a Hindu wants to make it universal. And as a result, what happens? We are like a plant without a fence, and any goat and any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come and abuse us and then take us for a ride and destroy our foundation, and our growth is stunted, and because of that, we are the losers. While we become target for abuse and misuse and hijack by by destructive and unnecessary elements and harmful elements which is around there, and we become a victim. And we don't even understand. By the time we understand, sometimes it becomes too late, like this girl in Afghanistan. Right? So it is very important for each one of us. It may see, because we are a tradition devoted to knowledge, it looks like something restrictive. And that's great. That's wonderful that we feel restricted because I want to be universal is a great idea. But in order to be universal, I have to wait till I become a big banyan tree. I can't become universal and be without fences and be without protection when I'm a small sapling. So until I grow so big that an entire herd of sheep can take shelter under me, and I don't lose anything by a couple of people cutting a few branches. Until I become like they say like in a small tumbler, even a tiny baby will make big ripples. But in the ocean, you see there are whales and sharks moving in the ocean. Still, the ocean is calm and wonderful. So when we become like that, then we can talk about universal. We can be open to everything. But until then, as while we are growing, it is very, very important to completely own up the tradition at the action level, at the fashion statement level, at the social level, and at the behavior level. That provides what we call, it's called Charya. Charya means, it sets the path, it sets the boundaries that helps us to grow. And once we grow upward, we will grow out of the boundaries, and that's exactly what our tradition is. Ours is the only tradition that tells you to renounce ritual with the proper ritualistic procedure called sannyasa, with which you renounce the rituals. They will say, no guru, no God, nothing, you are individual. Ours is the only tradition which has a scope for that. So we don't have to worry about becoming universal. We are going to become universal eventually. But until then, let us protect ourselves. Let us be committed to the charya. And that is extremely important to bridge the gap between what is actually spiritually correct and what is spiritually useful and what is spiritual knowledge and what we assume to be good for us and what we assume to as spiritual knowledge based on our lives and dislikes. So let us bridge the gap between our subjective projections and actual objective standard of the spiritual knowledge that is centered on Yogeshvar, that is not centered on our lives, that is outside the realm of our lives and dislikes, by following which we can shape our individuality, we can shape our ego, We can rise above our likes and dislikes and actually become universal and open and not try to act like we are universal while we are totally under the grip of likes and dislikes. So this I wanted to share when I saw that scene in that movie. I said, okay, I'm going to discuss with you. Only Hindus are doing this, and let us not do this mistake, and let us learn from the people from other traditions. They are so devoted to their tradition and their religion and whatever is their school. And let us also follow ourselves, and our children will follow automatically people. I wanted to share that, and I thought somebody would have written or something. So that's about it. Nothing to discuss. We can have another 80 more minutes. Whoever has missed here, you can post your questions on the comments in the video. I will try to answer in the YouTube. Somebody is trying to connect to an audio. Connecting to audio. If you can't connect, don't mind, please type it. That's all right.
Is there any questions? You can WhatsApp us whatever the queries or questions you have in your mind. We'll pass on to Yogeshwar ji and he will respond to us in the next sessions.
Right. If your question is of a private nature, I can private